Go on the road. Come on, why is that not playing? Where we at? I got no sound. I can't hear anything. Nothing from the sound bites at all.
Are you plugged in properly?
Yep. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. We've got some slight technical difficulties. I don't know if you heard that or not, but apparently we've got loose connections or no connections.
Just play something.
Okay. We play in the beginning of the show right there. There it is. There. Boom!
Got it.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio, along with your host, Brian Smith, and
Didn't we do this already?
Gary Smith. Giving you all the late-breaking details of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because you'll never hear about that anywhere in the media. That's like their blanket, their cover-up. That's their hole where they just stash good stuff away. We'll give that to you on Sunday night, every Sunday night from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're also going to wrap up all the nice, juicy tidbits of the week past, setting you up for the week to come.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio. That's SMYTHRADIO. And you will get to follow all the craziness that goes on there, apparently. And so what do we have in store for this week's episode?
This week, we're going to talk about how Donald Trump has secured the nomination.
Are we prognosticating, or are we, or do we already know?
Pretty much. The graphs, the momentums, the shifts in the last 30 days from Real Clear Politics.
Okay, so we won.
You can see by the graphs the nosedive and the
we know why,
ascension.
Too. Now, Bill Mitchell pointed this out, and it has been dead on accurate, and that is, when that Colorado thing went down, people just were really upset at Cruz, and probably wrongfully so. If you're a Cruz supporter listening right now, don't throw your shoe through your monitor or whatever, or throw your smartphone down on the ground and start stomping it into oblivion. What I'm saying is there was mass confusion. And I've actually gotten into several arguments on Twitter over the rights and wrongs of all this. Obviously, Cruz supporters believe that it is totally wrong and ignorant for people to believe that somehow Cruz should be blamed for what's going on in Colorado, and that Trump, the Trump people, his staff, should have already had this figured out, and criticize the entire Trump campaign for not having a very good handle on this.
And I had a soundbite last week that we didn't get to because we ran out of time, but I've got it queued up this week where Cruz is on Hannity's radio show, and Cruz literally goes to ape.
Do we have that?
I do have it.
I mean, did we play it?
No, we didn't play it. We didn't get to it last week. But we were
could,
going to.
We could, and you can find this anywhere. If you type in, if you go to an easy one would be go to YouTube and type in Ted Cruz, Sean Hannity, and right on like one of the top 3, it's a 14-minute long soundbite, which is really riveting. There's been such a good relationship between Cruz and Hannity, because if you didn't know, if you don't listen to Hannity, you may not know that Cruz has had more minutes on Hannity than any other candidate. And that's Hannity, not because he favors him.
Right. And Hannity told him that in the interview.
Right. But he had been saying that for days leading up to that interview, that Cruz has had like 180 minutes on air with him, whereas the second place might be Trump, who had like 120 minutes or something like that. But the point is, here's the thing that happened really quick. This is actually old news. We're just recapping. When Colorado went down, the electorate on the Republican side were outraged. And I'm sure there's Bernie Sanders supporters who are like, now you feel our pain, because they're going through it with the superdelegate thing.
Right.
And I was outraged because I was on the air for weeks telling everybody, making fun of the Democrat Party for the way they do their primaries with their superdelegates and how their primary is actually undemocratic.
Correct.
So they're the undemocratic party, whereas the Republican Party is truly the Democratic Party because we're more democratic. And, of course, the naysayers will say, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. But I quickly point out and thwart that very quickly, stomp it down by saying, yes, we have representatives that act on our behalf, but we select them through a democratic process. And what we found out, starting with Colorado, is it's not really that democratic. And here's the problem, and this is why the Cruz campaign has just taken a tank, is that not only Cruz supporters, but also Ted Cruz himself has actually applauded this system of, hey, it's not democratic. And Reince Priebus comes on and says, hey, we are the party is selecting its nominee, is what he says.
The party does, not the people.
The party is selecting their nominee. And if you don't like it, you can leave and go to a different party. And I'm
Right.
paraphrasing him, but it's almost an exact quote. Almost. So I wanted to say this analogy to everybody, and nobody's getting it. So here's the analogy of what the primary system with the delegates is. Something that I wanted to do an analogy that people listening can understand. And here it is. Most people understand how boxing works, the sport of boxing. In boxing, you go, in a championship fight, it may be 12 rounds, like a world championship. And in those 12 rounds, the boxers are trying to win the round.
Each individual round.
Right.
Right.
Actually, I probably got ahead of myself here. Their number one goal is to knock the other guy unconscious for at least 10 seconds.
Correct.
And if he were to achieve that, then he wins the fight, and that's it. However, in the meantime, while he's trying to knock this guy out, he's also trying to win rounds. And if at the end of the fight,
12 rounds.
12 rounds, if you win at least 7 of those rounds in the eyes of the judges, because there'll be 3 judges judging whether or not you won the round or not, in the eyes of the judges, if you won 7 or more, then you win the fight, even if you didn't knock the other guy out. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just saying this in case you didn't know how boxing works.
And for those of you who think that TKO is better than a KO, no.
Right.
This would be
TKO sounds more authoritative.
This would be a TKO, a technical knockout. TKO.
Yeah. Well, no, TKO would be. Yeah, I'm gonna explain this for everybody.
Sorry.
A TKO is when you beat somebody up so bad
The ref.
that the ref has to
intervenes.
say, you know what, even though this isn't technically a knockout,
Right.
I'm just going to say it is.
I'm going to call it.
I'm going to call it a knockout, so they call it a technical knockout.
And Rocky's screaming, cut me, Mick. I can go back in.
So a good example of this would be somebody who's being punched and they're not even defending themselves, but they're not going down. They're up against the ropes and they're laying across it. And the ropes are actually holding you up. And you may even be completely unconscious, may or may not be. Regardless, you're not even defending yourself. The ref would stop and that'd be it. But we're just getting into the weeds there. So that's how boxing works. Now imagine if you're a boxer and you're trying to win a fight and you're out there fighting and you win the first round and then you win the second round and you may or may not win the third round. Let's say you lose the third round and then you win the fourth round. You get to about the 7th round and you won like 6 rounds or maybe 4 rounds. Doesn't matter. But you're pretty much dominating this guy. Let's say you're winning all the rounds, okay? And you are just beating this guy. However, as much as you're trying, as hard as you're trying, you can't knock him out.
Oh,
You just
some of
punching
those
on this
guys
guy.
are some of those guys are like that.
Well, he could be a defensive guru, and you just can't quite get that flush hit to knock him out. And there's other people who, in the boxing industry, are said to have a strong chin.
Right.
That means you may actually be punching this guy solid with flush punches. However, because of his ability to stay conscious, you're just not able to knock him down or knock him out. All right? So let's just say that's the case. Let's say you are just beating this guy to a bloody pulp, but he's not getting knocked down. He's not getting knocked out. Meanwhile, you're racking up a whole bunch of rounds in your favor.
More punches landed, more solid punches landed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right.
Domination of the rounds. I mean, there's a lot of different criteria, and you clearly see that.
Well, not only that, let's get really specific here. This is the perfect analogy. The crowd knows who's winning.
Dude, you can feel it.
Oh, the crowd is like, oh my gosh, this is starting to turn into a one-sided beatdown.
Right.
They're going to the concession stands. They're getting bad.
They're not even waiting for the
This is
break.
starting to turn into a boring match. It's just beating them down. All right, so all of a sudden, after the 8th round, maybe 7th round, let's say 7th round, you got 5 rounds left. You get to the corner, and your trainer says, Brian, we got a problem.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, I'm beating him. What's the problem? Cut me, man.
You gonna cut me again?
No, Brian, we got a problem. We just found out, we got word that all 3 of the judges have been paid handsomely to give the fight to the other guy if you don't knock him out.
Well, that can't be possible.
Oh, it is possible.
Oh.
They have been paid.
So I got to knock him at either KO or TKO. That's the only way to get this thing done for me to win.
Meanwhile, fans in the crowd are starting to call you a crybaby because you didn't do your part to pay off those judges. You should have known. You knew that you could have paid those judges off.
Because it was legal in this hypothetical
hypothetical analogy. So this is going on, right? So now you got to knock him out, and it's not going to be easy. And if you don't knock him out, you lose. Period.
Oh, so the bar for me to win is higher than for the guy I'm going up against.
Well, yeah, you have to knock him out, but if he stays on his feet after the 12th round, there's a very good chance. Now, there's only one hope for you at this point, and that is that the judges know that there is going to be a riot.
It's going to be hell to pay.
There is going to be a riot even though they've been paid off.
Right.
They're said to have guaranteed that they're going to say that the opponent is going to win. They're starting to feel the pressure of the crowd, like, oh my gosh. So, what do you do in that situation? I'll tell you what Trump did. Trump started telling the crowd what happened.
And folks, do not think he is not a genius for this. And I know that you're saying that other people have commented that they said the same thing earlier, but I know that we broke it here on Smith Radio that we said Trump did this on purpose because he couldn't win Colorado. He knew he wasn't going to be able to.
It may have been an act of desperation. Maybe he may have calculated and thought this will work.
Like a Hail Mary.
Or he might have thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And then just out of desperation went and exposed it. But regardless of what the truth of his motives were, the results are clear.
And Cruz did not get the memo that Trump was playing him like a chump.
No, so guess what Cruz does? And if you're a Cruz supporter,
I'm sorry.
Bear with me. Cruz started bragging about his ability to win Colorado the way he did. He should not have done that.
He's like, I've gone 5 straight. I've gone 4 straight.
Yeah, and we're all like, what? with the Wyoming.
Right.
He also had some delegates that he got from
Utah too?
Louisiana. Utah, he won straight out. He won fair and square. Utah, he won fair and square. But the Louisiana
that was bought
thing,
and paid for.
Trump wins Louisiana. Cruz ends up after the fact, way after the fact, getting